My guest today, Christian Hoyle, has spent over 25 years leading, building, and coaching in the real world of business and personal growth. A man who's helped ambitious people grow because he's had to grow through serious challenges himself. He's experienced love that changed shape, financial highs and financial collapse, routines that built strength, and moments where everything fell apart. This episode is about what it truly takes to evolve, not just in business or in relationships, but as men navigating constant change. We explore vulnerability as a form of power, the ego that keeps us safe and stuck, why resilience is forged in the lows, not the highs, and how to build a life where your impact outlives your achievements. This is a conversation about identity, community, and the courage to reinvent yourself again and again. So much to take away from this episode. If you found value in it, support the mission. Please kindly subscribe and leave a review. It helps the show grow, and that means that we can reach more men who are ready to take that next step. Thank you so much. I'm Harrison, and this is the Growth Voyage Podcast. Enjoy. Okay, we're officially live. For context, we were chatting behind the scenes and we thought it'd be a good idea to just keep on rolling. So here's your formal introduction. Christian, welcome to the show.
Cheers, mate. Well, thanks for having me. I haven't been a guest for a while. I'm just about to start being a guest again, so you're in my beginning.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's great to have you on here. And for context, we were just talking about relationships all of a sudden, and I kind of came with the point that actually, well, at least from my perspective, what I perceived or thought might have been love in the past was maybe just me chasing a feeling, or I was used to a certain intensity, but it wasn't necessarily safe or peaceful. But then you've said you've had quite a mix of relationships in your life.
Yeah, I said that you thought it was a one thing for all, and love is different for every person that you're in love with because they have a different vibe and how they connect and give it you. And as well, do you know, like, this is the most important thing about it. You get chapters in your life, and some of them are love. And I've just left a chapter with someone for 18 months, and in that time, it was brilliant and it was great for both of us. But I knew it was just a chapter, and it wasn't going to be the book. So I realised that. So when you look back at your chapters, love can have been right at that time, but wouldn't be you resonate with who you are now. Because who you are now is a different person, because we're ever changing all the time. So my love 10 years ago would be from a different person. I don't even know who that person is, who I loved and who I was being the lover, because I'm not that. So we're ever changing. So that if you add that to the mix, you know, it does change. And it's, yeah, I was saying it to you because you said you've never had the feeling. Now you know about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I always, the way I likened it was you might be attracted to what perhaps your nervous system is used to, but then actually maybe that could be defined as, because that was your definition of love at the time, which is a really interesting point. And I love this idea of chapters as well. You know, it was a season of your life where it was the right dynamic for you, and then it
To
either
follow on
lasts or
from
it
that,
doesn't.
why do most marriages fail? To think about it like this, when I like, so mine hasn't failed. I'm not with my, I've got an ex-wife, but I'm tight. I go against everyone. I'm probably 1% of society that I absolutely love my ex-wife as a family, as a friend. But when I met her when she was 17 and I was 19, how the hell do we know what we're going to be like as we get older? We're nowhere near forming. So what we do is you meet on lust, you fancy each other. Is that enough to build a life with? Is it hell? And then you both grow in that relationship, and sometimes you grow different ways. So for us, it did. We ended, but we probably got tighter then as people. So that's important. You know, that love for me is forever with Sarah, but it's not, it's a different kind of love. Now it's family love, sister love. But like, things change, don't they? Oh, and that's what we want. I want it, definite.
You mentioned the great point there about growth too, because I always read it as okay, well, some people perhaps grow at faster rates, and that would mean that naturally you're going to drift apart. Although you've alluded to something there, sometimes you might just be both be growing at the same rate. Your
Mm.
values might be rooted in growth, but then that growth leads to you being completely different people. So I
Mm.
haven't really considered it from that perspective before either. Super
Well, you're a
interesting.
different. We haven't spoke for probably year and a half. I think we had a little bit of contact, but you're not that guy, are you? Definitely not. I don't even need to ask you that because I know you haven't, because you've gone off and done loads of growth, loads of changes, loads of new things. So you're someone else. You're still that part of you that I see and I recognise, but someone else came in and added to you. Like you filled up a little bit more, like your battery went a bit more with you. You are as life.
Mm. Yeah, and it's interesting because I was reflecting on this because, for context, you were my mindset mentor at Ventilec, the recruitment company I work for, and I remember back then it was really good to just see the shift in myself since then because I
Mm.
remember some of the tasks would be okay. I would say to you, I want to network with people on LinkedIn. I want to build out my network. And you would say, well, I want you to reach out to 5 people then. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? That's good. And that for me was, that was like a bit of a challenge at the time. Whereas now it's, I love doing that. I'm
Mm.
actively seeking out opportunities and looking to connect with as many people as possible. So just remembering that was really fun for me because I'm like, oh yeah, because you don't really notice growth at the time because you're living it day by day. And it's only when you look back over a longer period of time when you're like, oh, hang on, what was I actually thinking during this
Mm.
period? What was my belief system? But it's an important point relating to the compounding effect, the slight edge, because the difference is big, but you never notice it at the time. You just got to keep on showing up every day, and somewhere along the line, stuff changes.
Can I add a point to that? Because you were what you were. I've had hundreds of clients, obviously in my time, but you were rare in a sense that I use you as an example. I talked about you before. When I worked with you, you were so young. You're only young now, but you were doing everything that's like out of every book. Getting up at 5, doing this, doing that. You told me all these things. Gym, jujitsu, reading, thingy, meditation. You're doing it all. And after a bit, I remember I said, "What are you doing to have a laugh? When are you laughing? You're so busy with all this other stuff." So it was the opposite. Normally, I'm pushing people to do stuff to make them better. With you, I was like, "What are you doing? When are you laughing? When are you giving yourself a break? When are you?" Do you remember? And you're the only one I've had to try and knock the other stuff off to get you focusing on you again, on who you are.
This is such a funny point because it's come up in my thoughts recently, right? Because I have a theory, right? Okay, you want to change your life, you've got ambitious goals. It's about getting the habits in place, the discipline, and there is going to be a lone wolf mentality. Talk about entrepreneurship, and you're building up all the character traits. However, I think there's a point then where you get to a point and then you start hearing about this, okay, balanced lifestyle and how not to burn out and, you know, incorporate your feminine side and balance yourself out, all this fun stuff.
Mm.
But what I've noticed in myself, right, because I saw this, I attended a workshop the other day, which is super interesting on manifestation. And it hit me so deeply because I had a big reality check and he described it perfectly where, okay, you put fantastic habits in place, right? You build up discipline, you're doing all the right stuff. And then I think you get to a certain point where because it becomes so normal, you kind of, or at least this is what happened with me, right? Using I statements, but you kind of get to a point where you kind of just get used to it and then you kind of slack off a bit. And I noticed in myself because I've always identified as disciplined and doing all this stuff. And then I was like, hang on a sec, I'm not actually where I was back when I really wanted to change. And he pointed out this can actually happen where you build all these great systems in place, you take your foot off the gas, and then you need to build it back up again. So I found myself doing that, and it
That's
was
life.
such a big, it was a
That's
wake
life,
up
though,
call.
isn't it?
Yeah,
You can't always be everything, but during the times when you're not, you're trying to be the everything. It's like I'll tell you, it's a good one of that. Like ice baths. I love. I had the cold. just before this call, I was having a shower. I had a cold shower at the end because I wanted to flip my mood. I know
Me too.
Sarah. Sarah was Sarah. Sarah's my kid's mum. Who I'll mention her name. She was doing ice baths every day. Never told a soul right through the winter. Then she realised the body gets used to that. So what she does now is flips the coin. If it's an head, you're going in. If it's not, you're not. Then your body's in shock. It doesn't know when it's coming or not. So she goes to have the ice bath. She doesn't know if she's having it because she's going to flick the coin and the coin will decide. So then there's a bit of doubt for the body. The body can then go in shock because it's not got used to that thing. So you've got to like, when we get used to things too much, it does, like you say, it can plateau and it can get a bit norm. And we have to swap it around a bit. And I think that is life. But life is that. It's up and down. Swapping. This happens. Something else happens. Something gets in the way. Your dad falls over. Someone, it's something, you get ill, you lose your job. And it's all these things and they're happening and you've got to change with them.
Well, on a side note, the cold showers have just that's never changed because it will shift my mood like
Yeah.
that. Like I might have a meal, feel a bit sluggish, cold shower, and I can work for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
For me now, it's just a non-negotiable. Like my morning has to be wake up, meditation, cold shower. It has to. If I don't have that, it's out of place. So perhaps you can become a bit of a slave to the routine in a way. But for me, it's yeah, non-negotiable, 100%. But then again, I found myself now, where does the line go? Because for me now, like if I have you, I don't know if you've watched like the Traitors on TV,
No, but
for
bloody hell,
example.
I'm gonna because I'm into it off everyone else going on about it, and I've convinced myself I'm gonna like it. So yeah, I'm watching it soon, imminent.
Well, yeah, because I've never been one for TV ever. Like I've never really, yeah, I never watched the news or anything like that. But my dad would go on about the Traitors. I thought, okay, let's watch one episode, and I was hooked straight away.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, now in the evenings, now I'm going to watch the Traitors, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, hang on a sec, this is like the stuff I'd preach not to do. Like, it's a classic. Oh, you've got an hour every day, and the compounding effect, and all these hours,
yeah.
and
Can I give you
it's like,
one other
oh,
rule? One other rule that changes all rules, right? You've got to have rules. Rules are what make discipline is rules, and rules keep you consistent, and you'll always be good. But you've got to have one major rule to drop your rules. I'd say 1 in 10, you can go, you know what? I missed my cold shower. You know what? I didn't do my morning walk. Do you know what? But I've got to do it 9 times out of 10. Because sometimes if I stick to my rules, it stops me having the life I want because my rules have held me back. And I always think I'm not a prisoner to my rules. My rules can be changed. If I get fixed on them and have to do them, then I'm a prisoner. I'm not. I've learned that my rules are great and they keep me consistent and keep me going, but they never get in the way of something that's going to be good and fun. And I won't go, I can't do that because of my rules. I'll have a bash. My rules are, yes, keep it up 9 out of 10, but every so often you've got to just go with it, go with the flow, change with it.
mm. And like you said, I think having rules that are meant to be broken, but I think having the rules in the first place
Mm,
is so important because
mm.
that's where I think you're kind of guessing everything. Okay, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. Whereas if you're consciously breaking a rule, then you're still in charge, you're still leading your own life, I
Yeah.
suppose.
And then you're living.
Yeah.
Remember, you've got to live. You remember that's what I said to you? I goes, when are you living? When are you actually living? You're
Mm.
doing all this. What's it for? Have some fun, have a laugh. And it's like it's the balance, isn't it? If you don't balance it right, like if any form of that balance goes out, life don't feel the same passion. You've got to create passion, create excitement, create contentness, create happiness, create it all by not always following an exact plan because plans go wrong and then a new plan forms.
Mm. I wonder in your case then, because obviously, yeah, you've got what 20 plus years, 25 in entrepreneurship.
Yes,
Uh,
I've
uh,
yeah.
I'm not saying you're old or
No,
anything.
no, you are. I'm actually going back in. Do you know
Experienced.
what? It's going to be. I'm going back in as big as I ever was soon. I haven't decided, but because I had a big knock in my life 5 years ago. It's took me 5 years to completely go back to me, and I'm just about having conversations with people where my entrepreneurship's coming back. It's always been in there little. I'm on about a biggie again. I'm going to go for something big, and I'm going to get really into it. I've got at my age. I'm 48 now. and I've got a little bit more in me. I've just been like, I feel like there's like I've been feeling it for a few months, and I'm just about to put it into tuition very soon.
Mm. Where do you think that came from? Because I'm also keen to touch upon 5 years ago as well and what happened there. But what do you think sort of gave you that entrepreneurial edge? Do you reckon the desire to
Do you mean when
succeed? Because I've
in
always,
life or now? In life in general, why I've always been into it, or
yeah, I believe so. Because I always wonder what kind of shapes people to get into it. Because I know for me, I know my mum was entrepreneurial before she had myself, and my dad had his own business. But then I've also been intrigued by the sort of subconscious drivers as well. What factors when we were younger shaped us into
yeah.
the person we are now?
Mine are really simple, but they're individual, and it's not based on anyone else. Mine was because my life started off in a bad way, not in a bad way, yeah, bad way. I had bad teenage years where I was out of control, and that created an impact. And I got done for something. I got done for a fight 28 years ago. Still have to mention it if I do any certain things. And from that, there, I started going to uni. I was at uni and all that kind of thing. Coming out of it, I was rebuilding my life. And I always knew that, like, that criminal record at the time held me back on quite a few things. Not in entrepreneurship. I could do anything I wanted, and no one would question me. They'd only look at what I'm producing, sort of thing. And I always knew, like, everything I can do has always been about a purpose. I might do that. That's my holiday fund. I've always had little incomes. I saw my mentor today. I was with him, and he said, "You've always done that, found a way to get little incomes." As I'm doing an income right now, because sometimes I know where that's going and I can control it because I know I'll never give in and it'll be on me. So most of the stuff, other than the big brand and stuff, is on me. That I'll do it. I won't let myself down, ever. And it doesn't involve other people being able to let me down. So that's how I've positioned it.
Mm.
Whereas I just think that's what it built from. You can do anything. No one can tell you not to do it. Entrepreneurship, anyone can do it, which is like you can just go into it. You don't have to be skilled. You can just do it. You just keep going. You learn a lot of skills in the ride, in the journey, and often by the mistakes that you make. But it's there for everyone. Everyone can do it, but not many can.
Mm, yeah, and it's something I've thought about as well for myself. I've realised I just don't like being told what to do sometimes. I just really don't like it. And it's not even just in a work setting, school setting, of course. Yeah, I just really didn't like it. So maybe there's something from there. But it was also for me, if I'm going round and round and round working for something that's not for somebody else's mission, for me, it doesn't make it, for me at least, worth it. Whereas for myself, again, talking about entrepreneurship, if I am having, real tough days, it's fine because even if it were to fail, it would still be worth it because
Yeah.
it's my own thing and it's worth suffering for because great things are, right?
But really never fail because the best thing about entrepreneurship, people who don't understand it, is to come along and you've made a loss. God, you must be gutted about that. And I went, gutted? I'm well chuffed. And they're like, what do you mean you're well chuffed? That was the best loss I could make. There was three options on the table. That was the best one. I actually feel like I won. I saved. And it's perspective shift how you look at it. Because often you're not making out at first. You don't make any money. And people get caught, but I'm not doing it, I'm not making any money. But you have to have vision of where it's going. There has to be
Mm.
building blocks, and you can't get caught up in the right here, right now. This week, I am currently, for the last few weeks, I've got a little build. I bought a little place. I was going to flip it using builders. None of builders turned up. Guess who does turn up? Me, digging trenches. I've had the worst week ever. I've had to dig out these drainage. I've never done it in my life. And I'm going to tell you that this, I learned something about me this week. Not doing it, did this drainage, it was horrible. I was covered in muck. I was using this machine. I don't really know what I'm doing. And I hated it. I did. I was like, if you saw me, I'd be like, oh, why is it like that? I'm using this machine. The concrete won't come off. And where I found where I am and now I think that is my strength. 2 o'clock, I finished that and it had done my head in. Younger me would have gone home, but I thought, no, I'm finishing the day. And at 2, what I did was I went and did another job inside painting, got it ready. I decided I'll leave at 4, And that 2 hours, it wasn't getting the job done because it has to be done. It was staying the next 2 hours because I knew that was good for me, good for it all. Prove a point to myself. It's proving a point to you, not to anyone. No one else sees that. I've told it you. I know that I've said it to you, but then no one sees that at all. When I'm doing that for me, I'm sat there in a place on my own, and I suffer from. I get lonely working. I hate working on my own. Hate it. But I'll do that because I said I would, and it's to prove a point to no one but me. And when you're proving a point to you, and you'll follow it through, like, and you won't give in. When I'm in the sauna, I'm finding it hard, but I've said 15 minutes, I'll do it, or half an hour, or gym, or whatever else. I'll do it. And I think that's the difference in an ingredient. And you can grow that. If you've not got it now, you just start little bits. All right, if I normally give in with 20 minutes to go, try and do it 15 to go. Next minute, you're building up them skill set, going through it, and you're thinking, all right, proving points to yourself. All right, I did 15 last time, let me do 10. And it's little steps. And then remember, you're not proving it to anyone else, it's only to you. If you're only proving a point to you, it can be small wins, and enjoy them.
This is what I've likened to going to the gym, because I've spoken with quite a few guys now, and it always seems to be the first thing, when you're 15, 16, you're getting up, it's like, right, let's go to the gym, because if I get big, then, I'll get all this validation and it'll be great. But then I think it's through that journey, and I've experienced this myself. It's not the end result. It's not this validation, because that probably doesn't even come from women most of the time. It probably comes from other guys.
Yeah.
Every time I've had compliments over my body, it's been from guys just saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's your,"
Yeah.
it's not for the. You get more validation from guys than you do from women. But for me, it's again showing up every time. It's the discipline it's taken, and it's all the internal journey. And I think that's, again, I think likening it to entrepreneurship, people on the outside might think, oh, you're not making money, whatever. But it's like a video game. If you're playing a video game, then it's fun when you're playing it. But when you've completed it, it's not going to be as fun anymore. And
No.
it's all about the journey, right?
Do you know,
But
I
you got to
promise you,
remind yourself.
it is the journey. It is. It's not the end, because I meet loads of people like they've been striving to get this, and they get it, and they're not happier. They need something else to strive. I saw my mate the other day. She owned a supply agency. She sold it. She did well, and she went, everyone said just retire, but I've realised I can't. And you know what? I can't do a crap job, because if I'm doing it to earn money. I don't need the money, but I want to earn money. It's not about the money. The money's the journey, because she's got loads of money. She sold it. She did really well. She's great. But she wants to do it again. And it's not for the money, but money's a byproduct of what she will do to do it. So that success is a byproduct. She don't want to go and work in Asda. She don't want that, because that's not how she's made up. Where someone else does. But she's doing it. And I know she'll do it, because that's her.
Mm. And I wonder if in your case, you've perhaps struggled to leave businesses behind in the past when
Never.
you've sort of moved on
I've
from
left
them.
them. No, do you know what? That's something I've found really easy. I can think we had these printers. So I was using a printer. He sort of did me a little bit, because he passed this. I went, you're leaving, retiring, and he had a good little thing with funeral cards. That was a nice, profitable part. And I was younger. I was in my 20s. I took the printers on, and I went in with a partner. We started it, and I realised straight away we need to strip it. The only thing to make money out of this is that funeral card thing. Everything else is a bludgeon of the finances, and it'll be a hassle. We're using a one-colour machine. It's going to be no good. So I said to the guy, I went, listen, Andy, the only way we walk out of here, all right, is if we remove this part of the business, shut the rest down, keep it profit, we'll make some money. And he went, I don't want to do it. And I went, well, I'm walking today. I'm going to unsign, and I'm out, and I'll leave it with you. And madly enough, I live opposite a castle, and I walked up the castle that day, and I felt amazing. He went and failed the business. He lost a load of money, and he did exactly what I knew was going to happen. And that he did that. So we lost that funeral card thing and whatnot, but it was the journey. I learnt more then. And sometimes you learn more in the harsh stuff than you do in the good stuff. And so it's all,
Mm.
like, it's just mad. When you look back at your life, all your bad stuff is probably your biggest growth.
Big time,
Mm.
big time. I say that all the time when I talk about even my transformation journey, and when I first hit my proper low point depression period when I was 19. Biggest blessing ever, biggest blessing. And if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have uncovered so much about myself. I wouldn't have changed who I was as a
Yeah.
man. I wouldn't have gone on this whole self-development journey. So I almost say the sooner you can have a bit of a wake-up call, a tough moment, the better, because it kind of wakes you up a bit
You wouldn't ask for it.
to reality.
You don't ask for it, right? Because when it happened, it's horrible, it's terrible. But when you look back on it, you think, oh my God, well done me. And you know what? If that hadn't happened, these doorways wouldn't have opened. And for a doorway to open, one has to close, and it's often not closed in a nice way. It's often pretty crap. But what's coming is the sunshine, but you don't know it because it's full of dark cloud till you get there.
Have you ever thought about wondering where to shut a door? Perhaps you're unsure, but you're aware that something needs to shift, or you need to remove something out of your life to let something new in, but you're not quite sure what that is, maybe,
That's all the
or getting
time.
used to those signs.
That's all the time. That. I think that is life. What you just said then. It's about shutting and opening doors. Your own internal ones, and then ones that are external in your life, and they're all getting you there. And it's that decisions, because it's like you think in the last year how many decisions you make, right or wrong, but they're just decisions that have to be made. And that sometimes you make a decision, and I've learned a decision can be changed. I'm never held to it. And that's one important thing that's all right, I made that decision then, it's changed now. And they'll go, but you've made that decision. I went, yeah. And now I've got a different piece of information that tells me it's not the right one. I'm not held by it. I'll leave that one behind. I'll close it, I'll open it, I'll reopen it, I'll reclose it. Because it's like always leaving a door open wherever you are. I'm always like that with people. I'm sound, I'm nice, I'm good energy. So I know that if one opens or closes, and I know that even if it closes, it might open again in the future. You don't know when that's coming. You don't know. It's like a beaver underground. Don't know when the light's coming, but you'll find it.
Yeah, and it's trust, I suppose. I think trust plays a big role, faith in any journey. Just know, I think that gives you the confidence to make decisions. And I presume you've learned to trust your decisions more by making more decisions, because then you have more evidence to
No,
look back on,
I
right?
think that I make great decisions for 90% of the time, and then 10% of my decisions are rash and in the moment. But what one rule is for me is, it's like saying when you start analyze yourself, you're not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I know what I'm good at. I don't go on about the things I'm not good at. I know the things I'm good at. I can't be good at everything. And one of them is sometimes I make the decisions, and I make decisions, but because of my rule that one thing that gets me through life is the simple thing of saying, no matter what, I'll be all right. That's my one rule. Everything that's ever happened, I've always been all right. Always, no matter how bad it is, I thought this is it, it's over, I'm stressed, I'm tense, I've seen it, I'm always all right. And if I always come back to that delining principle that I'm all right, always, then everything's all right. Bad decisions are good decisions. I'll be all right. It's okay.
It was something that helped me, was knowing that even if it's the wrong decision, it will lead you to the right one. So every decision is the right decision, and trusting that. And also, this is, I think, a fundamental shift in the man's growth journey, because once you understand at a fundamental level that every event, again, depends on what your beliefs are, but for me, if I know every single tough moment, I know for a fact this is a part of my soul's journey, this is part of my evolution, and that I need to go through this to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
That just completely disarms it. It doesn't mean that times aren't still challenging or difficult or annoying, but you can separate it. I think you can remove yourself from your thoughts and the detach your emotions from the outcome a bit. And I think that is, even just in men's mental health generally, I think that's a game changer, because you can you're not removed from reality in that sense, I think, when you see it that way. What happened 5 years ago then, if you're open to sharing
Yeah, I'm
about
open
it, because it
totally.
sounds like that
Yeah, no,
rocked you.
I'm totally open because I totally wasn't before. And what I've realised now is now I can just talk about it because I'm through it. And what I've realised when you're going through something, you can't because you're fighting it. 5 years ago, I done really well, sold my company, life's going good, making loads of money and loads of different things, got involved in these investments. This Saturday, say for instance, it was actually August the 2nd, 2020, I was going to get paid out over £1 million. got a phone call while I was on holiday 3 days before off a guy, not to do with the deal, but I did know who he was, who then told me that there was no deal and there was no money, and I was going to need to meet him the next week. So when I went to meet him the next week, I was on holiday with my girlfriend and all the kids. I didn't tell anyone. So I've gone to this meeting to find out he's done me. I've been done a lot. 850 grand I've been done. So then that what had a consequence there is what happened from that journey then is I have got to make it all right. But I'm done. I'm over. I've gone over. I've gone in big. And I've some people I've gone in with. And I have that journey then. And for the next year, I think for the next 3 years, the first year was dealing with the loss and just keep my life all right, keep on. I kept all my stuff going. And then 1 year for that, the girl in question left me because of what happened, because she had some money in the deal, even though I gave her half back. It got too much. And that's the when it really went bad. Yeah. And then for the next year and a half was probably one of the worst times of my life when she went, because I could handle the money, because I can make more money. That's easy. But love, we were touching on love before about the feeling of love. And then I'm in this big house, I'm on my own, things change. And it was really interesting because I was so obsessed on being all right that I lost a bit of me. I now know that it's the entrepreneur me. It's the confident me. It's the guy who makes things happen. It's the guy you can, no matter what, he'd be all right. I lost a bit of that because I was so fighting these things. It's like a big thing and it's had loads of complications. The complications in my life's unbelievable. Like now, I'm doing that build to pay one of my loans. I've got 3 loans that I have to pay 2,000 quid a month for the next 4 years, 4.5 years. I have to pay that 2 grand because of the money they took. And I have to create, what I've done is, while other people think it breaks them, 3 loans, I need 3 income streams. I've got an Airbnb now, I rent a salon out, and I've just got to build 3 loans paid. Now I can think about paying me, so I have to have a job and all that kind of thing, sort of thing. But if I wouldn't have had that happen to me, I wouldn't have grown where I have because I thought I was invincible. When you lot saw me, I was teaching mindset. I was going through it, and I was giving everything I had and being tested in everything. And probably one thing that I wish I'd done more, and I've just had this with my son, I wish I'd used the vulnerability of me at that time as an accelerator. I wish I'd let it out more because it took me till 45 years old to start realizing vulnerability is a strength. I was so scared of not of showing weakness. Now I think weakness makes people think you're human. I can relate to you. So all that's like, I'm at the other side now. I've got the consequences of it, but I'm dealing with it because all I ever think is, as long as I deal with it, I'm all right. But now that's what I'm thinking now is because I was at a stage. Yeah, I was at a stage. I can't really talk about this thing because it's an ongoing investigation and it's like I'm creating and I've been absolutely done. And it's hard to accept when you look back a bit how much you were done, but there's sophisticated people around that are doing these things. But have I been done? Because ever since, because of what happened then, I've been on a national TV show and had the best time of my life recording it and enjoying it. I was in a ITV thing and it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Been to Thailand a few times. I've been to America. I had a relationship with someone that meant a lot to me at the time. I've been to places. I've grown. And if that didn't happen, I was getting complacent and I'd stop being me. Not stop being me, because I'm one thing I'm always all right, like going back. But now I'm really always all right because I don't like when I wake up in the morning. When you're going through something, when you wake up in the morning, when you don't want to know what's going on in your life, when you wake up now, I wake up, I put the radio on, I'm free. I'm free of everything. I've got no thoughts that are bringing me down. Whereas when I go back 2 years or something like that, I wasn't free. I wake up, you get 30 seconds, and then bang, it starts. Either I was love struck, I was absolutely heartbroken, or it's angry with the guy for what he's done to you when you found something else out, or it's feel sorry for yourself because you've got to do X, Y, and Z because of something that happened. And after a bit, you realise where you are is what do you think about when you get up? Because at the minute I'm free and it's great and I love it. So I can get on with stuff. I've hated going to do that job. I've had to dig this stuff out, but it's part of the process. I get that done, that's sorted, boxed off. I can move on to what I'm going to do about me. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say that I wanted that to happen, But all I want to say is that how I've dealt with it, I couldn't ask myself to do. I could ask myself initially to deal with it better. Actually, I'd never get depressed. I don't have mental health issues. I use mental vitality in my life, and I do lots of things, and I'm constantly checking myself. I'm in touch with myself. Before I was a bit pissed off because building this thing, I ran out of stuff. I couldn't get it. There was loads of stresses there. When I got back, I locked myself out. So what I did then was I went for a walk because I knew I was going to need one, and I ran up the castle. And you know what? I was a bit stressed and a bit. I had this thing coming up. That was the right thing for me to do because I'm in check with myself. So when I came back, it's like so. Maybe the first year I could have done it, but my resilience and what I've done, and I've done it. My best mates can't understand me. They can't understand me at all. That I can have things happen to me, and I can not brush it off, but I can not let it affect me. No, no, you can't. That did affect me, but I cannot let it ruin me. I will not be ruined. I'll not be thinking. I'll always come back, and I'm back now. And the good thing I got out of it is realizing I'm not invincible because I was invincible, and then that was a big thing to happen. But I now know it's good to know you're not invincible. I think that's helped me because I really did think I was.
Yeah, and I believe it's these moments really where it kind of brings you back to your core a bit. And when you're building and building and you're feeling great, you've got a strong ego, you're going towards your mission, it's a fun place to be. But I found whenever your ego's taking a beating and you are down there in the trenches, I think it reconnects you to a bit of empathy, maybe, and you can
Yeah.
start relating to people a lot more. And I wonder in your case, because you've had those are two big events
Mm.
in one. So what does your process
Can I
look
ask you a
like there?
question? Which do you think was
Yeah.
worse, the money or the relationship?
So I think the relationship is going to have a bigger effect on
Yeah,
you because
it did.
perhaps because the money is tied
Money's
to it
money.
as well.
Love is you
Yeah.
can't buy it. You can't go and get it. And when the money thing, I was with her. I was not on my own. Then she goes, and I'm on my own in here. My kids are older. I still have them, but they don't want to be around me, and they don't care. When you're teenagers, they don't care about you. They do as they get older. They care. It's great. I love having them. I've got an older one now. He's great. He actually cares about me. But we're in that time. They didn't care about me, so I haven't got them. I haven't got a mum. I haven't got a dad. I haven't got anything. I'm just now me here on my own. I always had Sarah, and I had my family network there. And I remember being in here and just feeling alone. But do you know what I did about feeling alone? I got lodger. I'm alone. What should I do? I got a lodger straight off. Hey, I got financial from that, but I got someone in here. I'm not alone now. I'm seeing someone. So whatever happened to me, I react and I deal with it. I'm lonely. Do something about it. Don't dwell. I don't sit and dwell ever. And I have one rule that'll change everyone. I have a rule and I've installed it with my kids and everyone. You're allowed a bad day. You're allowed one. You can feel sorry for yourself, be miserable, go crying in your bed, do what you want. Not to. The next day, you get up, you're firing, you give it everything you've got, even when you don't want to. You've gratitude book, run, gym, ring your best mate, cry, get out there. Whatever it is, you refuse. And before you go to sleep, you say, I refuse. But it's all right to have a bad day. 2 days can lead somewhere. Never to.
Mhm.
And I've kept that one. That's one thing that's really helped me out, actually. I've never thought about that, saying it. That's a biggie if I was going to do it. Have you one, have a big cry, do something to make nothing up with crying, nothing up with emotion, feel sorry for yourself, just one. Never two.
I really love that. I really love that because some days you've just got to kind of surrender to it and you've
Yeah.
got to be like, you know what, it's not happening today. Even on a micro scale, okay, I was going to get all this stuff done. It hasn't happened. And, like all this stuff. And I think one day where you can just go, right, do you know what? And this is what I'll do. I'll write down all the stuff which, okay, I want to do tomorrow. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
And then at least,
Like
and
it.
then it's organized in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, it might give me a bit of a dopamine hit. So maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
But, if I'm just like, okay, you know what? It's still sorted. It's there. I'm going to do that tomorrow. And I think
That's
just
all
this
right.
approach,
That's all
and
right.
it
That's all
it
right.
is, and
It's all right. It's
and do you
best
know
for
what
you.
do you know what I've noticed too is that before when I used to, especially when I was 19 and this first moment happened, it would take me so long to get over stuff. It would
Yeah,
take me, and especially my romantic connections as
yeah,
well, it would really affect me and it would linger and linger and linger. Now, I think that and I noticed the more I invested into myself in terms of my personal development journey, that window got smaller, smaller,
it
smaller.
is.
So, yeah, I would feel if I went on a date maybe and it didn't go to plan, then I'd feel, and I don't know, I got ghosted or whatever.
Yeah,
I
which
found that
happens to the
window,
best of us, mate. Best of us, the best of
always happens at some stage, but
us.
that window, it was like it went from that huge one before where it would be months on end to maybe 3 days, 2 days, and then at once it would just be like, okay, you know what, that's it. And I think that window, it's okay to have it, but I think it gets smaller every
Well,
single time.
resilience is a word I always use, right? I was just thought of something. So what I've had to do is I had to get a job again in the end because I hated when I love the coaching, but I hate looking for work. I like doing the job and I love it and I'm good at it. I'm very good at it. And I love it. I hated not being in a team, sitting here looking for work. So I got a job. I went back to teaching. It wasn't enough money. So then I took another job, coaching, big insurance company. I've been working in it. Got to Thailand in September to meet my kids. My son's travelling. My other son flew in from America. Best thing in the whole world. We have a big bender first night. Second night, wake up, go on my phone, text. I know you're on holiday. We'll be able to take this call. I know what that means. It was a massive corporate company I currently work for, and it was a long thing of being made redundant. I've actually never been more glad to be they've treated me so well because they've made the position redundant. So I get the position, they ring me, and it's a long corporate message. My boss, she has to read this stuff out. I know what it is. It bothered me for 5 minutes. Because you know what? I thought that job was all right. But I also know that I'm back to me now and I can do bigger and better things. And I could do something else. But 5 minutes I was to the point my kids gave me 10 minutes and they went, so I've told them, "Fucking hell, I've just been made redundant." They were like, "What not?" They gave it 10 minutes and then it was, "Oh God, just because he hasn't got a job, the dull dosser. For God's sake, Dad." Because they know where I'm at. Someone else can act. That's done them for a week or 2 weeks. I'm more like, all right, what's it coming to? Because it's a great thing. I mean, it's not happened overnight yet. But if you can look at all things like that, like I've definitely got better at that. Something messes me up. I'm allowed to be mad. 5 minutes, I'm back in the room.
And it's as you've alluded to already, right? The only way you're able to do that is by having that experience and
Yeah,
going through the
yeah,
tough times. So this is where, again, if you're having a bad time, it's good for you because eventually your resilience is going to be so strong.
yeah,
And I look at myself now, and it's through the hard times. Some have been optional, some I've chosen, some I haven't chosen. But it's through all of those I've built up all this resilience now. And again, that window gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But you mentioned something there. You've mentioned it, saying vulnerability is strength, and then
yeah.
you mentioned, okay, feeling quite lonely, you got a lodger in. However, did you have any type of brotherhood or men you could be vulnerable with, or do you
So
have those types of people in your circle?
yeah, so what I did was my oldest son. We were like we are tight. I'm tight with all my kids, but he's older. I tell him you won't believe what I know about him and what he knows about me. So I've always had him. So he was one. But it was interesting in this case. What happened was, so I didn't with the money. I went a full year without telling Sarah, my son, my best mates. I didn't tell them because if they start getting emotional, that's not going to help me. 1 year to the day, I sat there and I made a video for him to tell him what happened to me. And I remember giving it. So that was the money, 1 year to the day. But when my relationship ended and my head was up my ass, what I did was it went about 3 months and my best mate, I ring him, I went, "Can we go off for some food?" And we go off for some food and I just lay it out to him. I went, "This is where I'm at the minute. I'm thinking this, I'm heartbroken, I'm this, I'm acting this and the. And at the end of it, he stopped and he went, "Right, wow. I've never seen you like this." Because I'm always the person I'd come across now. They can count on me. That's who I am. He went, I've never seen it. And what he did then was, for the next, he did it until I needed him. He stepped up. I had to ask him to step up. No one asked me to step up. I asked him. He stepped up. I've had to do it for him recently. And when he realised that was a better, he just drifted off. Back to our usual how we speak, how often. So yeah, I have got that, and I've got it on different capacities. I've got my business people that I can talk business and talk business problems. I've got my best mates. I've got women. I always have women mates, so I can talk about women. Like what? Because I don't get that. Talking about my daughter to them. I have a range of stuff, and I call people. I talk a lot. Like if like yeah, I've got a vast array of people that I ring on my phone. And I'm often I ring them, they don't ring me, and I could get caught up in, they don't ever ring me. But I want to ring them. It helps me out. And then my other one is like today, I stroke every single dog I ever see. Today I'd stroked 8 dogs, so I'd love them. And I said, this is mad. I was meeting. Well, let me give. This is quite random on the day. I met for coffee at 10:30 today, and a friend who's my age who's got early dementia, and it started, and it's horrific how much it's affected him. And I met him, and I knew it was going to be uncomfortable. And I went up to this woman, and I started stroking her dog, and I just looked at the dog, and I went, "I love you." And I said, you know what? It's mad. I fall in love with dogs straight away. I can tell them. I don't have to worry about if it's related back because I know they love me, even if they're just meeting me. And it's different to humans. Love has to be built up. But I love a dog straight away. I look at it and I look at its little eyes and I feel it and it makes me feel great. I don't know how I got to dogs then. Sorry, mate. I just love them.
Well, the first thought that came up was that's exactly my mum. I think she's always preferred dogs over humans,
Yeah.
and
No, I
that's why
love them
she's
both.
dedicated her life to it.
I couldn't do
Yeah,
without either.
yeah, and well, they're beautiful, and well, we can learn a lot from just their, just joy for life and unconditional love. And you mentioned a good point there. I think this is why having those people we can call is so important, because I think as a man, the reality is we kind of do have to, put on that like cloak, that hard face sometimes,
We
because we don't
do.
want to offload
We do.
everything, especially to family members. And you hear stories about, people who battled cancer all alone and they never
I
actually
know.
told their family because, well, would you? And I've definitely seen that with my old man. He'll never let on that anything's
What even now?
there.
Because I was going to say this example that it's like that with your kids that they haven't got a clue what you're going through. And like Lucas, in my middle one, he's 18 now. At 17, I let him in to me. And he started seeing any problems. We talked about it. And they're like, wow, right. That's why sometimes you're a bit stressed out. Because they can't see that. But like my daughter, she's not there yet. She's not really bothered about me. But my sons care about me and bothered and they want to hear about it. And I can relate to them. And it is, you're right. Being a man is tough. And I think it's getting a bit tougher at the minute. And I think we've got these societal pressures of out of whack all the time. We have to be all right. Do you know what I mean? It's the biggest killer it's the biggest killer under 55 or 45, whatever it is, which is outstanding because men sometimes keep it in and women are very good at keeping social situations good. We have a local, but you can't drink forever. But I've missed that. One of my things is my local is an old person's place and I love it. So when I go there, yeah, no one cares about what I do as a job, what my relationship status is, what I've done. Everyone speaks in the moment. Because if I could go there, I sit with Billy, 78. Last night it was 78 Billy, Norman 88, John 82, Brian 79, a young one at 68 was Andy in a quiz. They don't know anything about me other than the moment. They don't. When all that stuff's going on, they just talk. They don't want to ask me questions about my life. They just want to speak to me now. And having that is something that I'd never give up and it makes me feel special. I've got it.
Do you know what? I really resonate because I've got a local where I'll actually go to work, by the way, because you can get a refillable coffee, and I don't actually drink proper coffee
I
because
know.
of the caffeine, but I'm telling you, I don't want to go too much into this, but since I switched regular coffee for decaf coffee, my life's improved a lot. Just putting that out there. But on the point of the local, when I speak to the guys there, there's a certain feel to that generation, and I really hope that we carry it forward in the future because with that generation, they're, again, like you said, they're so present and they're just so
Present. That's it.
hot. So that there's just presence, and the stuff they talk about. And I notice it. They'll go there and they'll just have a conversation. And sometimes one of the guys, he'll just sit there in front of the window and he tells me how just watching everything go by, it will remind him of like the old days and stuff. So it's, yeah,
I'm going to
I
move
really
my
resonate with
charger
that.
in. Yeah, do you know what? When I think about it, yeah, in my life, older people have always been a big point. You know, like today, my mentor, he's 63. I've been knowing him for 20 years now and seen him a lot. And I've always found that yeah, I don't know, it's like me, I've got a few younger mates I take on. You know, I've took them on through the journey and been like a dad or a mentor, a friend or stuff. And we're helped by the right people around us.
Big time. And it also reminds me as well, because you mentioned something there of you were showing up to your work, right? You're showing up with all this stuff going on in the background. And it's something I've resonated with because when I moved into coaching, when it's a coaching environment, it does kind of give an illusion in a way. Because even as you were saying, you know, like you've got your stuff together and everything's going okay. So I think that's a big
In
testament to
coaching,
your.
I've been vulnerable the whole time because if I want you to tell me your vulnerability, I'm going to need to tell you mine. So I will tell you the most intimate things that you will be shocked me telling you because once I tell you that, you realize we're in this together. So I've never had a problem with that. It's more about my ego. You mentioned ego a lot, right? Always is ego. He's in the rest of it that I was scared to let people see that I was hurting or had fallen or whatnot. And now I'm realizing that was a weakness because people actually don't like that if they think you're like that. They prefer you being a bit more real. They do. Like they prefer you because people build an image. If you've had successes, I was explaining this one today. I meet a lot of people in my life. I know loads of people, loads, so many, and I'll be meeting someone, chatting to them, being me, and I have to admit they'll go, you know what, you're actually all right. What they're basically saying is they've built up an image that I'm a CUNT, right? Based on some of the things that I've done and whatnot, but they didn't know me. As soon as they actually talk to me, they're shocked because I'm the same with everyone. I'm always all right, nice, flowing, positive, trying to sue it. But they've created an image of who I am, and it's never the truth. And when that image was based on someone who's never vulnerable, that's because that's that trying to be mighty all the time, and that's not always loved.
Well, again, it goes back to the saying: imperfect people are attracted to imperfect
Yeah.
people. Not really a surprise. And
Yeah.
as you suggested, right? A lot of the time, people will project these things onto others, and this is what I noticed in kind of my journey. And that's what started to wake me up because even though I was exhibiting some form of external presence, maybe through the stuff that I was doing, I found that it was only when I met people in person that people could really feel my energy. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, actually, and this is what I found because since promoting my business on social media, it really brings up some stuff for you because you're like, hang on, who am I showing up as here? Because
Mm.
yeah, there's so many layers to you,
Yeah.
and people can only really feel your energy in person. And I really find that it's only when I meet people that's when I can really
You're
connect
big,
with
aren't
them.
you? I remember you saying you're 6'3", same as me, aren't you? You 6'3"?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I never thought you was big. Like, so you were present. Because we're exactly the same size. You can't
Mm,
always tell on stuff like this. And you're how many kilos are you?
about 115,
Oh my
110.
god, you a unit. Are you still doing the jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, pro wrestling.
You are a unit, and you must be 115. I'm 93. That's unbelievable. You are an absolute weapon. Tell you that, right? And we've never met in person, have we?
No, no,
No.
but it's funny though because I'll go to jiu-jitsu and someone will say, "Oh, how does it feel to be the biggest guy in the room?" And I'm like, I don't think like that. I never really
Yeah, I
know.
know,
I
because you
don't.
don't have that presence. I don't think
Mm,
of that, but you had them stats at 115, 6'3", still doing that. You are, but I don't look at even though it is. I can't see you as big now because it's just on a small camera. But it's funny that, isn't it? That everyone else
mm.
has it, but you don't beam that because it's not your interest. Whereas someone else is their interest to his size. I want to have size. I want to look big. I want to do this. It'll make me look like this. Where you're not doing it for that. That's just a byproduct of what you're doing.
It is, although because of the pro wrestling, I suppose it is a bit of a part of that because it's part of the appearance. But
You pro
yeah,
wrestling, are you? No.
yes, yeah.
So you
So
getting paid?
I've been, yeah. So
Nice.
I'll do bits on the scene, and
Nice.
I'm absolutely loving it. But then that's drawn other questions for me because I've fallen into this now, which is, it's a passion of mine, because I'm helping people go through the same journey that I did and
Yeah.
help them be seen, build up confidence. But then I look at the wrestling and I'm like, do you know what? I really love the wrestling. And for a while, I thought I had to choose between one or the other because I've always believed you have to go all in on something to make it a success. But what's really helped me is actually realizing, no, you can still be part of it. You don't have to be always at the highest level. It can still be part of your identity and what you do. But I've got so many ideas for the wrestling. I mean,
It's
I,
getting
obviously,
big, the
I'm,
wrestling, you know. I've been around some people on the train who have gone to watch it. They love it. People who love it are obsessional about it. Like, and it
it's
is an
huge.
art. I know it is. It is an art how you go on and do it. I've looked into it a little bit more. I don't watch wrestling, but I've seen a few stuff, and it's more than it is. It's a choreographed art. You have to have physical fitness as well as durability, and as well as a real ability to be able to do it.
There's a lot of layers that go
Yeah.
into it, and I found for me all the answers lie with wrestling because it was when I first went to wrestling. Because bear in mind, when I was younger, I had two dreams. One was a professional football player, and one was a pro wrestler. So I effectively got to live my dream, which was awesome. But what I found was it was when I started going to pro wrestling practice, that's where my eyes started to open. We're talking about traveling before and belief systems.
Yeah.
But once I started being in a community of people who liked the same thing as I did and thought the same way, and I was like, oh, these people are weirder than me. That's fantastic. That was a huge part of my
You've
journey
just
because it's
identified
beautiful.
something. When you're changing, go and put yourself in the people you want to be changing with, and you'll become them. Because if you grew up with a load of idiots and you stay with them, you'll be an idiot forever. But what happened with me? That guy I saw today, 20 odd years ago, I changed and started knocking around with him. And do you know what? He brought me success because he listened to all my stupid business ideas. He must have listened to 100, but he knew I was going to get there. And I said to him today, I'm doing it again, Graham. Because he obviously knows everything that's going on with me. I'm doing it again, mate. I'm ready. And he goes, I know you are. Because he does know it. And the amount of stupid ideas I've given him, he never judged me. This is a smart guy who's been a very good entrepreneur, but he buzzes off it that I'm always
Mm.
showing up. I'm always, no matter what, I'm pushing it off. I'm giving it a go. But here we go. Let's go again. And that's what you have to be to be an entrepreneur. That sometimes, yeah, you lose. So, sometimes I'm rejected. Sometimes I'm ghosted. Sometimes someone don't like me. Sometimes I fail. And all of it is on the bigger picture is that I'm all right.
Well, I mean, your whole story has been a story of resilience, and it reminds me of, I think it was Alex Hormozy who said it. He said, right, you've got a choice between two different paths, and if you're unsure which path to choose the better story. And I think when you look back on your life in the future, you're going to think, well, what a great story to tell. You're going to look at all these heartbreaks and
Do you know what's the interesting thing for me
businesses.
though? I'm not. You'll meet everyone has association with money. I don't have one. I'm not a flash. I like my little things, I like my holidays and whatnot. I'm not flash. I never have been. When I had all that money, and I'm not out of the game yet because I'm smart and I keep going. But when I had it all, it was just I wasn't flash with it. I'm not associated with money. I know that money's an energy and it'll come, and I always know it. And I started blocking it out for a bit. At one stage, I started living lack, acting lack, just putting the energy out of lack. And I had money, but it was in my head. And I needed to get out of that and remember I'm not influenced by it. It's a byproduct of what I need to do to get there. And I'll always have it. And I've not run out of it yet. And I'm okay. Well, going back to that, I'm all right. I'll be all right. I'm alive. I'm healthy. When I saw Bruce today, he's not healthy. He's lost it. He can never have his personality back because he's gonna have an imminent death in so many years, and it's sad. And when I see that, if I can't get something out of it, then I'm failing. I have to take from that I'm still healthy, and that's the only thing that matters. That's the only wealth. That is it.
Is that how you move through money wounds then? Because it comes up a lot in conversation, attracting wealth. Is it as simple as just not really looking for it and just being grateful for what you have already and
I don't know. I can't
trusting the
even.
process.
There's so many things I've read. I've acted at different stages of my life of that. It's an interesting one. Like, all I know is I never give in. I never quit. And I'll only ever quit if it's the right thing to do at that time. And if it's not, I won't. And I just keep going. And in the bad times, in the good times, because you have to keep going in the good times, because good times can't be good forever. How are you going to react to them? You're on about love. It's great, love. It's brilliant, but it brings on some emotions that you're not used to. Maybe I got a bit jealous, or why has that annoyed me? And I've been a bit annoyed with them. Why am I being a bit possessive? Why have I done that? And you have to check in with yourself and all these things. So it's like everything, good and bad, has ways that you've got to reflect and change because you're growing. And we always would think resilience is about, but what about resilience when everything's going good and not to be a knob? Do you know, not to be an idiot when it does, not to let your ego go flash. What about dealing with that? You know, like there's so many, it's not just that, it's just, it all comes back. Life is about living something that goes up and down, but overall, you've just got to make it okay.
That's it, bringing it back to balance.
Back to balance, like, and if anyone's listening to it, one thing, just remember, you're always all right. Look back at all your other stuff. You're all right. Worst thing in the world happened, you're all right. If it's not, then the only thing that's really bad is that we die. And if you, like me, don't believe that it ends, then that's all right. So if everything's all right, the only rest of it is when you start deciding it's not. And you'll only decide that when you're not being present. As soon as you start worrying about the future or the past and not being present, that's when it'll come. If you bring yourself back here, which is normal, oh shit, what am I thinking there? Because it's all thinking. All the good and the bad is often thinking, how you interpret it, what perspective you put it. That's the one thing you got.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all we've ever got. That's why they call it a present, because it's a gift.
All we got. All we got.
Yeah.
And that's what I get when I go to the
beautiful.
club, the cricket club where I go, like last night, and do my quiz. I actually won the quiz. I never win the quiz. I won last night. And you're present. And there's something about, if I'd advise anyone, have some older mates. You have some older mates. Like my daughter, this is nothing to do with that. My daughter, she was like, girls are different than boys. They can be a bit mean to each other. I said to her, I went, you need to get some boy mates. She did. She got a boy mate. She happened to get a gay mate. I went, even better. It's perfect. He won't let her down because I know what boys are like. We're not going to be going on and be snidey to you and be whatever. I'm not saying that I know all girls. I'm just saying my experience having a teenage daughter, that teenagers can be horrible to each other, girls. Boys are much more easy to understand. They're straightforward. I could say, you're a knob. Within half an hour, we'd be mates. I wouldn't be holding it on to you. We'd have dealt with it. And I think that, you know, like, that was her journey. You're on your journey. I'm on yours. Whoever's listening's on theirs. We're all on journeys, and it changes all the time. Change with it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I'll give you this one. Oh, this is my favourite one. I'll use this one. Change doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. So if you're not happy with the current circumstances, what are you going to do about it? Because it means a little change, and it's smart, tiny. It's just a tiny one. Remember what you said? I want to reach out to people, so I go, reach out to 5. Huh? Because that's the first step. Because when you did 5, next one I'd gone, out of them 5, how can you get to meet one of their people that aren't your people? How can you make it where that 5 can be 25 by 5 for theirs? And next minute it's in a flow, but it's just step 1, step 2, step 3. You can't go to step 50 until you've gone to 48, 49, 50. Don't rush it.
That's it. And even now, even when I found that some days I just can't feel like I'll do anything. I just go, right, what's one thing I can do? Okay, I can sit down.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what else can I do? Okay, you know, and then it just creates a snowball effect. And you know, you have guys who've been depressed and they can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the first thing you can do? Okay, can we get out of bed?
Yeah.
Okay, can we put the covers open? Okay, can we put our legs over the side? And then for him, it was, okay, I've managed to brush my teeth now. And then eventually you get back into it. But it's always, and even just on a micro scale, I found that if there's been a task which I've always had on my list, but I haven't quite done it, once I sit down and do that thing, I'll get all these creative ideas connected to that task. And suddenly it just creates more momentum. So yeah, that's been my biggest thing, I think, just doing one thing, and it will naturally create more opportunities. What we'll do, we'll move on into the closing traditions. An hour's flown by,
Yeah.
which is awesome. The first two are routine questions asked by myself every week. And then the third question is asked by a member of the Growth Voyage community. The first question is a song recommendation.
Oh, bloody hell, I love music, you know. Like, I'm obsessed by music. And it's interesting, do you know what? What I do, I have Spotify like list, right? And in the bad time, when I split up with Julie, I love going back to them songs. There's one song, and it was about Trying My Best, it was called, by someone. I'll be able to check it. It's called Trying My Best. It's off Spotify. And at that time, I was so sad. I'm just about going the TV show. I'm waiting to go into the house. I'm in the hotel room. I play that song. And instead of making me feel sad, it makes me feel so happy that I know that then I was sad, but now I'm just about to go and have the best experience of my whole life. I'm just about to go and film a full TV show in a £15 million house where everyone I've never been as cared for or looked out for, and people matter, think that you matter. And I listen to that song. It was Trying My Best, it's called. And it's just, and at that time I was trying my best. But when I listen to it now, it empowers me. When I listen to every song in that playlist that was around then, it reminds me that that time was bad and I'm not there now. And you know what? I see a different perspective of it because music is everything. So I go down my like list and it's every period of my life. And I love listening through them. I can't remember. It's Trying My Best. It is. It's brilliant. It's just saying, I'm trying my best. And that's what I was. And that's all you can ever do.
I love that. It's definitely sounds like it's got a real connection for you. And I do find sometimes when I go through, because Spotify, they can do those playlists, which are like your top songs of 2021 and
Yeah,
2020. And it's interesting listening back to those and you're like, oh, what mental state was I in when I was listening to
yeah,
these and what meaning did they have? So I really
yeah.
resonate with that. The second question is a book recommendation.
Oh, bloody hell, I've got loads of them. I definitely think I could have to give. So the ultimate book you could ever read if you want to do the art of people is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think I've read that repeatedly. I haven't read it for a bit. It changed my son. It gives you an idea of understanding people, and if you want to get somewhere, how you can get there. That's one. But a couple. I mean, things like The Secret, getting you the idea, manifestation's true, and it puts you in it. One of the best that I've ever done is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Jodie Spencer,
Mm,
which is complicated, like the terminology. I'd like to see a simplified version of that so the layperson can get it because it's really thick and it's a lot of it. But that's a great one to understand that you just patterns of behaviour and at any point then patterns can be changed. Just because you've always done it like that, that's just a pattern of behaviour. Let's look at that pattern and think, all right, what does that work for you every time? No. Why are you doing it then? Just because I always have. All right, we can explore it more. So that's one. So yeah, there's three there. I love them. Love them. Yeah, I don't read books anymore, personal development. What I do is listen to podcasts now because, and I'll give you the best podcast. I know you didn't ask me this. I'm not saying other than yours, obviously, yours is the best. But I've
of
recently
course.
found one that, like, all my podcasts are self development, modern wisdom, diary of a CEO, high performance, Huberman, all that. I've got one that has all them, but it's real. It's called Strangers on a Bench because you listen to one person's journey and what they've gone through in life and how they overcome it and whatnot. And it inspires me. There was last one, woman, she's just retired, he's got her. And she's going, yeah, I've not been out of working out, you know, 'cause she's been a high flyer, done really well for money. She's sorted for money, but she feels a bit lost. And in that, she explains why she's lost. And you know what? I listened to it and I could understand it. But by the end of it, she made a commitment to try and fill the gap because Matey Boy helped her, who was reading it. There's been a guy who was in care, could have been a victim forever, and he was gay in care, fostered, horrific story. He didn't tell you about that. He dealt with how much his resilience to get through it, how it made him positive, how he used to think. It for me is my. I've listened to every one now, 57 or something like that. I've done them all because every person has a journey that I can learn from, and that's where my learn. Because I've done 200 books, I'm on to people now. Tell me what you did. Like this, I've told you what I did.
Yeah, we'll put all of these in the description. I think the secret is an interesting one because it's such an easy listen if you listen to the audiobook too. It's very engaging.
Do you know what?
And
I read the Secret 20 years after I should have because I read every other book that's around it, touches on it. I read Ask the Universe, so I read that early doors. I did The Secret like 5 years ago. It's like a movie. I try and get everyone at the audio version is phenomenal. It is like you're walking along and it's like, whoa. And I've got my son, I'm paying him 100 quid a month to read books when he's in Oz. So I don't get, he's just done one. He's doing The Secret next. I've got to get an audio sent to him because I want him thinking like that. Like my first son, everything's possible. He's going to be my son. He starts his business March. He's going to do unbelievable because he doesn't have any limiting beliefs. Because he understands that whatever you want, you can have until you tell yourself you can't. Whether you do or whether you don't, it's up to you. He knows that. He's passed. Now I'm on to the next one, and I've got one more, and they're hopefully going to be my pension.
Yeah, I can just imagine, as he was a kid, and I've always thought about this as well. When I've got a kid from the ages of 0 to 7, just all
Hammer
these
it.
growth mindset. I'm just gonna I'm gonna train it
0 to 7,
like
no.
a beast.
It's 0 to 24 because when they get to 24, that's it. Your job's done. Your job's done at 18, and between 18 and 24, you get to help a lot, but they've already been formed a lot. As soon as you get to 24, they're gone. They're now coming back to you because I had him on my lodgers listening to a call with me and Dylan. He finishes it. He went, God, he gives you quite a lot of advice, doesn't he? I went, yeah, because he's really smart and I really value it. But on that instance, I wasn't giving him advice. He was giving me it. That's when you know it's worth it. They're giving you advice because who cares about you the most? My son. He cares about me. Cares about what happens. So having that is a beautiful thing to have.
Yes, I've seen people comment on this saying how it really shows a lot about sort of your parenting, I suppose, when your parents still are interested in you once they're an adult and they still
Yeah.
visit you and they still give you time and energy. So I think that's a testament to I say the work that you've done, for lack
No,
of a
do you
better
know,
term.
it's a
But
testament.
yeah,
It's a two-way thing. And like, I I didn't. Well, I got a dad at 27. I'm not going to go into that journey because that'd be another one if you want, because that's a bloody good story. But I didn't have one, and I just always wanted to be the dad that I wanted, and that's what I've done that whole time. I've made sure that every moment that I wished I'd had a dad, I fill that in because I know what they need, so I give it them. And when I show up for them, they start showing up for me at different times, being the son that I didn't know you could have to a dad because I didn't have that relationship.
yes, and I think it's just a great way to look at personal development generally is by going, okay, how can I be the man that I needed when I was younger?
Yeah,
Right. Because again, and it doesn't even matter what your childhood was like, right? Because humans are imperfect naturally.
yeah.
So it's not picking at flaws, but it's just thinking, okay, what would I have liked that I put meaning on or
Do you know?
didn't
Do
put
you want a
meaning on?
second one to that? Is I've got to send it. So there's a. I don't want to ruin it, but on this table about 3 years ago. Julie was still here actually, but the thing's going on. Someone sent me a video, and he's now a motivational speaker. He talks about he went to commit suicide. Talks about that journey. And one point that made me cry was he said, when I was on that bus and I was on the way there, if one person would have asked me how you were, I wouldn't have done it. And I cried then because I've literally never, ever not asked someone if they're all right. And I always ask, I'm walking down the street, I see someone who don't look good, I go, oh yeah, is everything all right? And they say, yeah. I go, is everything all right? Really all right? Is it all right? And I find out, I never walk away. Do you know, like, it's the same for the people. Like, I'll walk past them and I think, were they all right? They didn't look all right. I'll turn around. I'll go back because they always love it. They go, oh no, like one looked like she was crying. I walked back. She went, oh, it's so kind. I've got sinuses. She was bawling. I thought she's bawling. I've got to give her something. It wasn't. But the fact that I did give it her, she was reminded that the world's all right. Do you know what I mean? She didn't need me, but she was reminded if she did, it made her feel good. She laughed, she smiled, she felt passionate about it because she didn't need me. But if she did, there's someone out there for her. And that's who
I
we
think
are.
well, that takes you out of. I think it takes them out of their head. First of
Mm,
all, it forces presence, as we were
yeah,
touching upon earlier. But also, I think sometimes we just want to be seen. We just
yeah,
want to be seen, and that's it. And this is why even when you see people begging on the street, I'll always just acknowledge them at least, because if I'm like, because it's just a human. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? And then it's just okay. I'm actually do exist in this world. So it's just little things I think which in which we can make a difference in the world. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I love
because
that.
my philosophy on the world to sort the world out just before we go is if every one of us, like where I am at, I get on with my neighbours and I'd help them in anything they did. But wherever I go, people around me, I'll always look out for them. If we all did that, the world would be complete. If we all just took on some people else, yeah, they're not your family, you're not your other. But if you, like when I went to Vietnam, I felt, if that's communism, I always felt that, and even though no one spoke to me, that I was part of it and they would have looked out for me if it happened. And I think there's a bit of that in that. I'm not saying I know nothing about communism and all that. I'm just saying because it is that. I saw it there that it all worked together. And I think as British people, we're always helpful to each other. I think we're very good at that. I think we are, when we're called upon, we will always help. And I think I'm a proud British person. I think that's one of the things, whenever you are, we'll help someone. And I think that's one of, I think overall the world's like that, if I have to be honest.
That's a really interesting perspective because I think the UK especially can have a negative
Yes,
perception depending
bullshit.
on where you're
Bullshit.
getting your news from. But do you
Media.
think,
Don't listen to the
yeah,
media. That's the first rule. The media have got nothing good to say, so don't listen to them. It's a way of getting
yeah,
messages out to the masses so they can control what the masses of people are doing. That's how they do it now. I don't watch that stuff because it's bull crap. So that's my Don't watch that.
I agree, and then it does. You got to be very careful about getting dragged into that stuff again because sometimes, especially if you've had a belief system growing up of how the world works,
Yeah.
and you might have maybe you're still going to have. I think even if you're detached from party politics and stuff, you're still going to have a bias of seeing the world. So I think it can be
Course.
very easy to get dragged into it again. So I think what I've battled with is okay, the secret, positive thoughts, but then could that be maybe bypassing because there is actually a lot of dodgy stuff going on in the world and a lot of weird stuff going
Minority.
on.
Like
So
they talk about Britain, I can see it on the media. They're making it like, oh, what's going on in Britain? I tell you, everywhere I go in it, I see the side. And I've worked in Manchester. I see it. Yeah, we've got a homeless problem there, but everyone cares. They do. We care as people. And what you'll see is small snippets on a camera, isolated incident. There's 60 odd million people every day doing movements. And if you pick up 10 of them, dodgy, it's going to make it look like everyone is. I'll always tell you 99.9% of this population are good. It's just a 0.01 allowed. And they've got videos now and you can see them. You watch that one video, an old person, oh, this is what life's becoming. And it's an isolated incident that happened. They've always happened, but we didn't have cameras before. All that stuff's always happened, but then the cameras are seeing it and it's being used. And at some point, people can believe, oh, like my American friend, oh, it's going to pot in England. Is it, hell? I have the best life where I live. It's great. I love going out. People are still great. They're friendly. They're kind. It's still there. Just don't listen to media. And reels are bad for that as well. Reels are bad for formulating thinking as well. That's another thing that I don't think helps.
do you know what? So 2 points on that. I think first of all, I was going to say, if you're really overwhelmed, you probably just need a month off social
Yeah.
media, and then that will solve
Yeah.
most of your problems. But then, yeah, because I found that especially my podcast Instagram account, it's quite a clean algorithm, right? So it's a lot of it's cool spiritual stuff,
That'd be
and
nice. Good
you know,
stuff.
it's very upbeat.
Yeah.
However, occasionally you get into the conspiracy
Yeah.
theories about
Yeah.
how the world's really run, and I'm like, well, hang on, this is kind of interesting, and okay, maybe I should know about this, and that's where it kind of I
Yeah.
go down these rabbit
We're all
holes
in
now,
that.
and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one because I kind of I'm like, okay, maybe I should care about this, but then am I just getting dragged into this whole
That
system?
I think everyone's in that, what you just said. And what you got to remember is, and this is what I always think, I will honestly sort everyone in my life, anyone who comes across, I'll go out tonight, and anyone I can help, I'll help them. So I can't give more than that because I give everything. So I can't worry about what's going on in South Africa. I can't worry about what's on in Zimbabwe or Australia. I'll sort wherever I am. If I'm in them places, I'm on them. I'm going to do my little bit of energy and sort what I can. But I can't be everywhere and I can't take everyone else's problems on, but I can help whenever I can.
And that's, I believe, what we're alluding to before in a previous podcast about, okay, if we just raise our vibrations, then that can have a ripple effect on the people around us. And yeah, So I resonate with that. I think that's a nice approach. The final question comes in from one of the Growth Voyage listeners. And this one is from Randy
Good name.
Dikraksana. Yeah, and Randy asks, well, he wants to know about the ego, right? So, what's ego for you, and how do you maintain the ego in relationships, like in marriage relationships?
So ego is ever present and up and down, and you forget about ego. I know all about ego, I know all about how to keep in check with it and whatnot. Next minute I do something and think, bloody hell, that was my ego again. So even though I know all about it, know the effects of it, know what it does, I still will make the same mistake. Not repeatedly, but there'll be instances I'll think, God, that didn't go as I thought. That was my ego again. But I'm in check after it, and I can maybe think about it later. In relationships, it's a real test because ego's up a lot because you're not in control. Because it's two energies colliding often together. So that really affects ego because ego can't come in control. Ego has to move and change with things and sometimes do things you don't want to do. And it goes into a lot of other concepts, but ego is the problem for all of us forever. And even if you know more about it, doesn't mean it isn't a problem. And it will be. And it's mad. And you're like, how the hell, with all the bloody books I've read, all the work I've done, I've just let ego in. And now my best mate will go, actually, bloody ego again. Oh, I don't want to admit it, but yeah, it was, wasn't it? And but it's just one of them things to think, all right, ego's an ever present. And I've got to remember, I'm ever present, but I make mistakes. And sometimes that's the ego coming in.
Yeah, it's. I suppose it's just accepting that it's always going to be there.
Mm.
And again, if you have that, if you are able to reflect after, I know you mentioned you've got your own process of staying on top of things. I think if you do have that process after, then you can do something about it. But it was a good point, though. I think sometimes the awareness actually isn't enough. I think
No,
we kind of have to do something with that, and we actually have to integrate what we've learned. Otherwise, it's just going into your shadow magician archetype, I suppose. Just all this knowledge and not actually doing anything about it.
ego is just we're not perfect. And we're never going to be because you're never going to have that one totally locked in. Even if you're the guru or whatever, ego is still present in some point. So you can sometimes have greater strength at working with it and using it as a positive side of your life, but sometimes it clicks in, and it's through the emotions of events or stuff that you're not prepared for, or you didn't know that was going to make you feel like that, and because it made you feel like that, ego kicked in because it's an automatic default. And next minute you can only reflect on it after when you think, "Oh God, I've done that again." But then you've learned and you've grown and remember, then you think, "I'm always all right." So I'm always all right again. All right, I made a mistake. I made a problem. I'm imperfect. I never lied and said I wasn't. It's just another reminder that I'm not.
That's it. That's it, brother. Christian, thank you so much for this episode. So many lessons from your story, and we covered a lot of ground as
Yeah.
well, which is awesome. I think it's such a range of topics. So yeah, fantastic.
I'm just gonna
Where
get a
can
selfie
people?
actually of my for my socials. Let me just get one of them. Let me just get you smiling.
Oh
Ready?
yeah,
One,
let's
two,
do it.
three. Just want to get it because I haven't done any kind of podcast, but because I've been in the trenches. I'm coming out. I've got 2 more weeks of bills, and then you're going to see me a lot. I'm going to be around. I've got lots of ideas and concepts about some stuff I'm going to do, but I'm going to be an ever present. I've done no social media for ages. I've hidden away, and I'm coming back. I'm
Yeah,
back.
back on the
I'm
scene.
going to be back on
He's back.
scene.
What's your Instagram and I
It's
suppose
Christian
LinkedIn?
Christian Hoyle 11.11. That's who I am. Christian Hoyle 11.11.
Fantastic. And are you still on LinkedIn? You're still going to be
Yeah, it's
putting your
still
personal
LinkedIn.
brand
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there?
yeah. Of course, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So you have to be on LinkedIn if you're going to be professional. It's a great network to be on, and it's good for ideas and finding stuff out and getting people.
Yeah, I love LinkedIn. I think I prefer it to Instagram myself. It's
Yeah,
very simple, very simple. I like the energy, even though I guess they're all a neutral energy. But I think you know
yeah.
what I mean.
I could have
It's
another
a nice.
podcast on some of the things I don't like about it, but if you like everything, you can't like everything. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that's perfect. We're all like everything's
Mm.
imperfect, and that's the beauty of it. I think.
I mean, that summarizes what our whole conversation was about,
Yeah.
really, just embracing imperfection. So yeah,
Maybe that's the
Christian,
title.
it is.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking, I was going to make sure it was all right with you, but I was thinking I could put a nice title in there, like I lost everything. I lost the money and the woman, but I still bounced back.
Yeah,
Maybe
do you
something
know why I don't like
cinematic.
that title? Because that was a point of before, and it's now that I'm bothered with, and it's being present of now. Because where I am now is a feeling that over the next 18 months, something's going to happen to me because I'm going to start making them happen. Not loads of things have been happening anyway. I'm always on with stuff, but I mean, there's a certain confidence that you can only have at a certain time, and you don't always have it, and you have to switch in and switch out of it. And I'm switched in. I'm zoned in. I'm ready.
Yeah, looking forward. I mean, this is a big part of the journey, really. I think, the past, yes, it's a blessing and we use it, but then we move on, then we keep going. We exhibit the
Keep
warrior.
going.
So
That's one thing. Just keep going. Hey, it's been great. This.
yeah,
Thanks so much for inviting me on. I really appreciate it. It's been superb. I'll share it on my socials and all that when you get there.
fantastic. Most welcome.